A very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on programming for problem solving course. In the last session, we discussed about the recursion concept from your fourth unit. We defined what is recursion and how we can achieve this recursion in programming. So we said if a function calls itself, this type of phenomenon we are calling it as recursion in C language. Not only C language, in any programming language, if a function calls itself, we said it as a recursion. So generally, why we use this recursion, that also we discussed. We said there are two different approaches to achieve the repetition in our programs. One is with the help of iterations, the other one is with the help of recursion. Iterations is nothing but if we use loops in order to get the repetition. If we use loops in our program, loops are nothing but our while loop, for loop, do while loop. If we use loops in our program to get repetition, we call it as iterative approach or iterations. So there is another possible approach to get the recursion, that is using recursion. Okay, so we have also seen different examples to explain this recursion concept, that is finding the factorial of a given number, printing the Fibonacci series, and finding the greatest common divisor, GCD, of two numbers. So we have successfully implemented the programs also to understand this recursion concept, or the recursive approach for solving the problems. In today's session, we will start your last unit, that is fifth unit. Okay, we will discuss what concepts we have over there to discuss, and how we deal this fifth unit concepts to complete. Okay, so if you see the topics that we have inside your fifth unit, we need to discuss about pointers, and we need to have the idea of file handling. This file handling, am expecting you to focus more on this file handling, because we may get one LAQ from this file handling concepts. And this file handling, it is also important if you want to do a mini project, or if you want to do a micro level project in programming, so that we can do with the help of this file handling. Okay, so it is having an important role in understanding the C language. Okay, so we need to discuss about pointers inside your fifth unit, the idea of pointer, defining pointers, and use of pointers in self-referential structure. So what is self-referential structure? And we can say we are going to have a subject with the name data structures in your third semester. For IT people, we have data structures subject, and there uh, we do this referential structures concept. Using structures only, we will implement the all the data structures over there. So the we will have the idea of this self-referential structures, and we also see what is linked list. So it is nothing but it is a type of data structure. Okay, linked list is nothing but it is a type of data structures. To implement this linked list, we depend on the pointers concept. Okay, so but over here we need to discuss about a linked list. We will see no implementation. They have clearly mentioned in your syllabus itself. We don't have to do the implementation of linked list. We just need to discuss what is a linked list and how these self-referential structures paves the ways towards the discussion for the linked lists. Okay, in today's session we'll be starting the pointers concept. First, we will start pointers. We'll have the idea about pointers, and as much as possible, I will try to complete in today's session about these pointers. And in our next session, we'll see what is this self-referential structures and linked lists, the implementation of linked lists. Then after that, we will go with this file handling concept. Okay. So quickly, tomorrow also, even we don't have any class. I think today, yeah, it is an extra class. Okay, today it is an extra class. So tomorrow also I will post one lecture. So in that lecture, I will try to wind up a pointers concept, and thereafter we need one more lecture to complete the file handling. Okay. So quickly, the idea of pointers. What is a pointer? And why we need pointers in our discussion, or why we need pointers in our C language, that we will have in today's class. That discussion we will have in today's class. Okay. So yeah, we know that in every computer, whether it is a small scale palm device or a calculator or a smartphone or a desktop computer, a laptop, a supercomputer, whatever the computer size it may be, every computer will have some sort of memory into it, isn't it? Because without the memory, it is not possible to store the software, or it is not possible to store the operating system into these hardware devices, isn't it? So definitely every computer will have some kind of memory, and that memory, we know the because we have already discussed so many things in computer science, that is PPS subject, that and we know that every computer memory will have some sort of units, isn't it? So we'll start with bits, then collection of bits we are calling it as bytes, and collection of bytes we are calling them as kilobytes, then megabytes, gigabytes. Okay, then we have tera, peta. Okay, likewise we have different units to measure the computer memory, isn't it? So generally, when we are saying memory, we are talking about the primary memory. Okay, in your first unit we discussed what is primary and what is secondary memory. So whenever we say simply memory, we are talking about the primary memory of the computer. So inside every computer, we are going to have the primary memory, and that primary memory, it will have some units. Let us say we are saying 4 GB of primary memory, or 4 GB of RAM I have in my desktop. What does it mean? We are having 4 GB of memory, 4 GB of primary memory, 4 GB of random access memory into our computer. Those 4 GB, whatever bits we are having, whatever memory blocks we are having, all those memory blocks will have some address. Then only your computer can uniquely identify a particular block from the 4 GB of memory. Because if we don't have the addressing concept, then what will happen? 4 GB of memory, inside that, how we do the partitions, I mean how we create the blocks and how we access those blocks, everything will become a confusing task to the computer. So to avoid that confusion, what they have done, for every block of memory into that 4 GB, they have given a unique address, and with that unique address only, the computer is going to access the every block inside your primary memory. This is something having the houses inside a city. So consider the city as the primary memory, and all houses or buildings as memory blocks inside that city, inside that main memory, or inside that primary memory. Okay. So if you don't have the addresses, how you are going to identify each house uniquely inside the city? There is no mean, there is no medium, isn't it? Okay, it will become cumbersome. So if you are going to a particular location, and if you want to go to that same location for the second time, it is not possible, because there we don't have the addresses, we have not given the addresses. And if you want to invite somebody from the outside, how you are going to invite that somebody to your house, because your house is not having any address. Okay, so this will become a confusing task for us, isn't it? To uniquely identify our houses inside the city, we need the address to our houses. So in that same manner, inside your computer memory, inside your computer's primary memory, whatever memory blocks you are having, every memory block, each and every memory block has to be identified uniquely with the help of address. Okay, that address who will give to those memory blocks, in the sense the manufacturers of the of your computer, the manufacturers of your primary memory, they will give the address, unique address, to each and every block inside your computer's primary memory. Using that unique address only, we are capable of handling, we are capable of accessing those memory locations. And so far, whatever programs we did inside our C language from the beginning till this point, whatever programs, whatever variables we have declared, so with the help of variable name or with the help of variable identifier, we are accessing those memory blocks. Okay, that is also one way, but it is not an efficient way. According to the developers, according to the programmers, accessing the memory content with the help of a variable name is not an efficient technique, because it will consume, it will take a lot of computer resources, or we can say a lot of computer processing power. So we need to find a way, we need to find a shortcut method in which we can access those memory locations without paying much processing power. So that shortcut way is nothing but through pointers. So what we do, we create pointers to those memory blocks. Instead of having the identifiers of variables, what we are doing, we are creating the pointers to those memory blocks, and with the help of those pointers, we try to access those memory locations. Accessing the memory location is nothing but storing some value into the memory location and retrieving the value from the memory location. This is nothing but the access. And we can also do the manipulations. Manipulations in the sense adding something to already existing value, or subtracting something, multiplying something, performing the arithmetic operations. Manipulations is nothing but performing the operations on the data which you have stored. So these type of things, previously we used to do with the help of variable names, that is nothing but variable identifiers, but now we do the same thing with the help of pointers. Okay, so just read the statements what we have in this slide. So far I have given much of the explanation about these statements only. So once again we will verify and we will go to the next slide. Okay, the first statement, if you read, every computer has addressable memory locations. Just now I said every memory location, every memory block inside your computer will have some address. So we are calling, because of that reason, we are calling those memory locations as addressable memory locations, because they are having the address so that we can uniquely identify every memory block inside the computer. Okay. The data manipulation so far we did with the help of a variable name, with the help of identifiers we have done. Now we assigned an identifier to the data locations and manipulated the content with the help of it. So generally we do in this way. We are assigning the identifier to the memory location or the data location, and with the help of that identifier only, we are modifying the content of the memory locations. Okay, this is also a possible approach. So far we did with like this only. Okay, but it is not an efficient approach. Remember this one, it is not an efficient approach. That's the reason we are going for pointers. Just read the uses. We have different uses of pointers in C language. Okay, uh, oh, pointers are, they are, when I am saying pointers are one of the efficient way of accessing the data for manipulations. So if you access the memory locations through pointers, you are consuming less computer power, you are consuming less computer resources. That is one of the advantage of using the pointers. And the second second also same thing, they in the sense pointers provide efficient techniques for manipulating data in array. So if your data is inside an array, and with the help of identifier, if you are accessing the data inside an array, then what you have to do, you have to do the indexing. Identifier is nothing but the array name. So if you are accessing the data from an array with the help of array identifier, what you have to do, you have to go for indexing. Indexing, it requires processing power. But whereas if you do with the help of pointers, it also requires processing power, but less in amount. When you compare with the previous approach, this approach will consume less processing power. Okay. Yes, in order to achieve the pass by address mechanism in functions, the third point, Okay, we discussed first two. The first one, okay, we said this is the efficient technique of accessing the data. Then the second one, to access the data inside an array, this is an efficient technique. Not only normal variable, but also if you want to access the data from an array, pointers are the efficient techniques. Pointers provide the efficient technique, we can say. And then to in functions, to achieve pass by reference or call by reference, call by address mechanism, we are achieving with the help of pointers only. And the lastly, they are the basis for dynamic allocation of memory. So we have dynamic memory allocation functions. Fortunately, we don't have that one in our syllabus. So if you have free time, if you have the what we call interest to learn the C language by your own, then you can go for this dynamic memory allocation functions. Okay. So dynamic allocation is one of the approach in which we will allocate the memory from the heap. Okay. So this is something the applications are important uses of pointers, we can say. So a pointer, it can be, yeah, here we are defining the pointer. So pointer, it can be a constant or it can be a variable that contains an address that can be used to access the data. So in order to access the data, what we are doing, we are storing the address of memory locations into pointers, and using those pointers we will access the data present inside the memory location. Okay, I will give one simple example, don't you bother about it. Here only I will explain with the help of an example. Okay, pointers are built on the basis of pointer constant. Okay, so we have the concept of pointer constant, and all our concepts inside pointers, they are built on this pointer constants concept only. So there is a need to understand what is a pointer constant. Okay, so let us assume we have a memory location. Okay, and so far how we accessed this memory location, in the sense we are giving a name to this memory location. Let us say a variable a. When you are creating the identifier for that variable, or the identifier for that memory location, will become a. Now this is your identifier. Okay, a is your identifier, like this. But at the same time, every memory location, let us take another memory location, like this. We are going to have all the memory locations inside your computer. Let us say the address of the first memory location is 1001, the address of the second 1002, 1003. Likewise, we have all the memory locations. So now what we do, accessing the variable or accessing the memory location with identifier, this is the possible approach. But at the same time, we can also do, we can create a pointer. Let us say the name of this pointer is APTR. So now what we are doing inside this APTR, because it is a pointer variable, okay, it is a pointer. Now it is not an identifier, normal identifier, or it is not a regular variable, it is a pointer. If you create a pointer like this, so this pointer is capable of holding, here inside A, let us say we have stored the value 20. So now this pointer APTR is capable of holding the value from this variable, okay, sorry, address of this variable a. So the address of this a variable is 1001. So store that 1001 over here like this. So now using this 1001, you can access this 20. So that approach, we call it as a pointer approach of accessing the memory locations. Hope you understood. This is identifier and this is pointer, and we are accessing the memory locations with the help of pointers now. Instead of going with the regular identifiers, we are going with pointers now. Okay, so in this way we can use pointers in order to access the memory locations. So what are pointer constant? In the sense, we have different memory locations inside the computer, and all those memory locations will have their own unique address. Okay, and if you club or if you combine all those memory addresses together, they will become, or they will form a pool of addresses. Okay, a pool of addresses or a collection of addresses. So we have many memory locations inside a computer. We can't say that we have only one memory location, isn't it? We have many different memory locations, and all those memory locations will have their own unique address. So if you put all those addresses together, it will become like an address pool. Okay, every entity or every single address from the in that address pool will be considered like a pointer constant. Okay, every single address in that address pool, we call it as a pointer constant. So a pointer constant is an address value that specifically represents a memory location in the computer's main memory. Okay, so when you take every address or any address from that address pool, that address will represent a memory location, isn't it? Likewise, all the memory locations, all the addresses from that address pool, they will be the addresses to particular memory locations. Okay, like every other constant in computer, a character constant cannot be changed. Okay, like every other constant in computer world, a character constant or a pointer constant, it can't be changed. Here it should be pointer, not character, because we are talking about pointers now. So a pointer constant, it cannot be changed. It is a fixed value. So see, once the address is being given to your house, can we change that address? Can we give that address according to our needs? So they have given some, let us say they have given some number to our house, and that number we don't like. So can we change it? No, we can't. Because whatever address is given by the municipality people, we have to follow that address only. We can't go and we can't select a unique address, isn't it? So in that same way, in your computer, whatever addresses given by the developers, or whatever addresses given by the manufacturers, those addresses will remain like a constant throughout the lifetime of your computer. They won't change. They won't change. We have to maintain them like constants. Okay, every time a program runs, all variables in the computer program will get different addresses. This is because in a modern computer, operating systems can put a program in memory wherever it feels convenient. Yeah, every time whenever you execute your program, you will get a unique address, or you will get a different address for your variable. So the reason for getting like that, whenever you are executing the program, your program will take a different memory location to execute itself. So that's the reason we are getting different memory to a different address to our pointer variables. Okay, so pointer constants are drawn from the set of addresses of a computer. So as I said, whatever memory locations we have, all those memory locations will have their own address, and if you put all those addresses together, it will form a pool of addresses, and every address in that pool of addresses, we call it as a pointer constant. And that value, that address given by the manufacturers for the memory locations, they are fixed, they can't be changed, they behave like a constant. Okay, so next, as you can see over here, this is your character pool. Whatever characters we have inside the computer, special characters, okay, escape sequences, normal characters, you put all those things together, we call it as a character pool. Okay, character pool, and every character in this character pool, it is a character constant. It is a character, this is your character pool, and whatever constant you take, this constant, this constant, this constant, it is a character constant. Okay, every element in the character pool is a character constant, and that character constant, if you store inside a variable, so this is your memory location, and we are storing that character constant inside that memory location, then this internal thing, whatever we are seeing G as a character, it will become the value, and this memory location, it is a variable, and this A character, it is an identifier to that variable, and this particular thing, whatever we have written over here, this is the address of this memory location. This is the name identifier of the memory location, and this is the graphical representation of that variable, and this G as a character we have stored inside that memory location. Hopefully you understood. So this entire thing, we call it as a variable. Okay, whenever you create a variable, every variable will have all these things. It will have an address, it will have an identifier, and it will have a unique value stored into it. Okay, so constant value stored into it. Okay, like this. Then similar to that, whatever we have seen just now, similar to that, we are getting the character, whatever character you are storing into the memory location, we are getting that character from the character pool, isn't it? In that same way, whatever address we are getting for this memory location, from where we are getting that address, in the sense from the address pool. This is your address pool, where we are going to have all the pointer addresses, or all the pointer constants. In the character pool, we are having the character constants, and in that similar way, in address pool, we are having all the memory addresses. Suppose if you have 10 memory locations inside your computer, and then you are going to have 10 address pools inside the address pool, 10 addresses inside the address pool, and every entry, every element inside that address pool will be considered like a pointer constant. And whenever you are creating a variable, from where it will get the address, in the sense from that address pools only it will get the address, because address pool is nothing but it is representing a memory location. Okay, this is the concept of pointer constant. Okay, so being existed in computer, in the computer, a pointer constant can be retrieved and saved inside a variable. So when you want to do the manipulations by using these pointers, definitely you need to have a way to access those pointer constants into your program. Okay, the way for accessing the address of a memory location and how those addresses are helpful in accessing the data values stored in that memory locations, everything we will discuss now. Okay, so in order to obtain, or in order to get the address of a memory location, we use the ampersand operator, or we call it as address operator. Here you can see the address operator ampersand is used to retrieve the address of a variable or extract the address of a variable. And if you see the syntax, how we are doing that one, simply whatever variable you have declared, it will have a name to it, isn't it? It will have a name to it, and using that name, just what we call prefix the variable name with ampersand symbol, this symbol, ampersand symbol. Ampersand symbol is nothing but the address operator. We call it as an address operator. Okay, add that address operator before the variable name, and this particular statement, whatever you are taking like this will return, or this will give the address to us. This will give the address in our consideration. This will give the address in our programming, and percent variable name. And to print the address, if you want to print the address of a variable on the output screen, take modulo p. Okay, modular p or percentile p. So percentile d is for integer, percentile c is for character, percentile f is for float. Okay, percentile I, sorry, percentile, yeah, we have already covered. Percentile s if it is an character array, like this we discussed. So now percentile p to print the address. If you want to print address, or if you want to print the address value on the output screen, use the percentile p conversion code. This conversion code percentile p is helpful in printing the address on the output screen. So we will do a simple demonstration where where I have created a pointer and I will print the address of that pointer. Okay, address of that variable. I will create a variable and I will print the address of that variable. So for that, just go to your dev cpp. It is not open, so let me just open dev cpp. Okay, dev cpp I am opening. This is my dev cpp. So take the new file, source, just start writing the program. Hash include stdio.h, go to the end and take int main of void, come down. Here you put the yeah, declare the variables, like I am declaring character variables a comma b, then print the address. So how we can print? Just now we said we need to use the conversion code percentile d to print the address, sorry, percentile p to print the address, percentile p. Then how to get the address of a variable? What we have to do, how to get the address of a variable? Just go and check here. To get the address of a variable, suffix, sorry, prefix and percent symbol. Put ampersand symbol before the variable name. So now my variable name is a, and I want to get the address of variable name a. So what I have to do, just put the ampersand symbol before the variable name a. Okay, variable name a. To get the address of b variable, and percent b. Like this we are getting the address of a and address of b. That same thing we are printing on the output screen. So to make your program more readable, what we can do, yeah, here we can put like this, address of a, okay, colon. Then here this is, take the backslash n, then address of b, colon, small b, colon. Save it. Now just go and give the program name, sample test something I am giving, sample test.c. Hit enter, program got saved. Now to compile this program, compile. Program got compiled. Now run the program. As you can see, we are getting the address in some hexadecimal format. Okay, some FE, we are getting FE1F, FE1E, like this we are getting something. Okay, these two are nothing but the addresses. So when we have discussed the concept, we have given the address like 1001, 1002, 1003 in that way, because it is very easy for our understanding, so we are assuming the address in that way. But in reality, your computer memory location's address, it is going to be an hexadecimal value, and if you print the address, you will see something like this: 62FE1F, 62FE1E, like this. Hopefully you understood. So this is how you can access the address of a variable, and you can print that address of a variable on the output screen. So if you are able to print the address of a variable onto the output screen, you can even access that address of the variable into your program and store that address into some other variable. And that variable which holds the address, which holds the pointer address, is nothing but your pointer variable. Or simply we can say a pointer constant can be saved in a pointer variable. Or to save a pointer constant in our program, we need a pointer variable. Pointer variable we need. Okay, so storing the pointer constant in our program or in our pointer variable, it is having a purpose. That is, later on we are going to use this pointer variable to access that memory location. Okay, to access, whatever memory location this pointer constant is pointing to, access that memory location, we will make use of this pointer. Okay, the type of a pointer must be specific to the type of variable to which it is going to point. So let us say you have an integer variable, then in order to store the address of that integer variable, you need an integer pointer. So the type of the pointer, it will go specific to the type of the variable. Okay, whatever variable address you want to store into the pointer, just create the pointer type specific to that variable type. If you have a character variable and if you want to store the address of that character variable, then you need to create a character pointer. And at the same time, if you have a float variable and you want to store the address of that float variable, then you need to create a float pointer. Remember this one. Okay, that is, an integer type of pointer variable address can be saved into an integer type of pointer. Okay, see here, the integer type of variable address. To store this integer type of variable address, what we need, in the sense, we need an integer pointer, integer type of pointer. Okay, very simple concept. So whatever, suppose if you have an integer variable like this, we will have integer variable a equals to 20. Now I want to have a pointer to this a variable. I don't want to access this 20 value using this identifier, because accessing using identifier, it is a non-efficient job. So what I have to do, create a pointer. How we can create? Okay, create an integer pointer, that we will see in the next slide. So let us assume aptr I have created as an integer pointer. So now you can store the address of a into that aptr, like this. So now aptr is holding the address of a. So why we are storing address into this aptr, in the sense, because this aptr, it is not a regular variable, rather it is a pointer variable capable of holding the address of an integer variable. So that we are doing over here. And %a is nothing but address of integer variable. Okay, so to store the address of a variable, we need a special type of variable, that is a pointer variable. So whenever we are dealing with addresses, we can't go with regular variables, rather we need to go for pointer variables. Okay, a single variable address can be saved into multiple pointers. It is not compulsory that you have to store the address of a particular variable into one single pointer. Okay, you can store the address of a particular variable into as many pointers as you need. So that means, simply with the help of a reference to the memory, or simply with the help of memory address, we are creating as many links to that reference as we need. Okay, if you create the identifier, we will have only one identifier to that memory location. If you create another identifier, that identifier will point to some other location. Okay, no two identifiers are going to point the same location. But when it comes to the pointers concept, two pointers can point, more than one pointer can point to the same memory location. Okay, if a pointer variable not pointing to anywhere, yeah, suppose you have created a pointer variable, and yeah, when you are creating a pointer variable, ultimately it will get the address from the address pool. So if it gets the address from the address pool, that address definitely it is going to point some memory location. So if your pointers, if you don't handle your pointers properly into your program, then there is a possibility of getting garbage values into the program, because whatever memory location at the time of creation your pointer is pointing, that memory location may hold some not useful data, or some I mean, how we can say that one, some uh, alien data we can say, or some unknown data, unwanted data we can say. Okay, so to avoid that unwanted data, or to avoid that unwanted address to be pointed by our newly created pointer, what we have to do, make that pointer value as null. So if you make the pointer value as null, that means the pointer is not holding any address. If the pointer is not holding any address, it will not point to anywhere, isn't it? It will not point to anywhere, and when you dereference it, you will get an error. Okay, what is dereferencing? Very soon we will understand. Dereferencing is nothing but getting the value from the pointer address. So if a pointer variable is not pointing to anywhere, that is, if we want to make sure that a pointer is not pointing to any address, a special type of variable or a special type of pointer constant is there in your C language, that is null. Null means no address. Null means no address. And in order to use this null, what you have to do, you have to include the stdio.h header file into your program. By default, we include this stdio.h header file in all our programs. Okay, so simply initialize your pointer. If it is not pointing to any address, initialize your pointer to null, so as to avoid the confusion, or so as to avoid getting the garbage values into your program. Okay, so accessing variables through pointers. So suppose just now I have shown you that one. So we have a variable, then we have a pointer. This variable is having value 20, and this variable is having address, let us say some 1001. So now this is the name of this variable is a, and name of this pointer is aptr. Okay, now this aptr is holding 1001. So how we stored this 1001 over here? In the sense, we made aptr is equals to and percent a. So we stored the address of a into this aptr. So stored the address of a into this aptr. So indirectly, or we can say unknowingly, your aptr is pointing to a now. So you accessing this 20 value into your program, now we have two ways. One, with the help of this identifier we can achieve. Other, with the help of this pointer aptr we can achieve. So with the help of identifier, how we can achieve? Simply give the identifier name, that is put a, that's it. So this a will give the value 20 into your programming, but this is not an efficient approach. So to get that same value into our program using this pointer, what I have to do means, we need to use the indirection operator. That indirection operator is nothing but the asterisk. We call it as an asterisk symbol or star symbol. Okay, this asterisk symbol you need to prefix before the variable name, so I mean before the pointer address, so that you can get the value from that address. So here, if you apply 1000 star aptr, what we are doing, we are applying star aptr over here, star aptr. So what is this star aptr? Inside aptr, what we have? Star followed by the address. So if you apply the indirection, star is nothing but indirection. If you apply the indirection on the address, what you will get? You will get the value. Okay, you will get the value. So if you apply the ampersand on the value, that is nothing but variable. Okay, if you apply the ampersand on the value, okay, on the value is nothing but on the variable, then what you will get? You will get the address. Remember this one. Okay, you will get the address. Okay, simple thing. Okay, the indirection operator is a unary operator. As it is taking only one operand, we are calling it as a unary operator, and whose operand will be a pointer value. pointer value is nothing but we are providing the address over there. We are passing a variable which is holding the address, which is not holding the value. Okay, the result is a pointed variable value that can be used for inspection or manipulation. So what it will give, when you apply the indirection operator on the what we call the pointer, what it will give, it will give the value. When you apply the indirection operator on the address, it will give the value. That value you can inspect, or that value you can manipulate inside your program. Inspection is nothing but printing on the output screen. The manipulation is nothing but performing the operations, changing the value. Okay. uh, to access the variable a through pointer p, simply code star p. So if you have a variable a whose address you have stored inside p, let us assume, then to access the value of a, what we have to do, through pointer, what we have to do, simply apply the indirection operator before the variable name p. Then star p will become the value inside a. Okay, where p is holding the address, that address we applied the indirection operator, so we are getting the value from a. Hopefully you understood this one. So now here you can see, before storing any value, okay, before storing any value, what we have done, we have created a variable x here. Variable x we have created, and two pointers we have created, pointer p and pointer q. How we have done this one? Simply we made p is equals to %x, q also is equals to %x. Then what will happen? P and q both will point the same memory location as x is pointing, or as x is marking, we can say, because x is an identifier. So if you change the value using the identifier, here what we are doing, we are changing the value using identifier. Using x we are changing the value. So simply if you make x is equals to 4, then what will happen after this statement? You will get 4 as value into that memory location, and now x is marking it and pq are pointing it. Okay, then do like this. We are modifying the content. So before, whatever we have done change over here, that same change we are taking into step 2. This is my step 2. Okay, in step 2, inside memory location I have the value 4, and pq are my pointers, and x is my identifier. So now what I am doing, again using identifier, I am changing the value of this memory location. So x is equals to x plus 3. What is x? 4. 4 plus 3. So x will become 7. So that 7 will come into that memory location. After this assignment operator, we will get 7 into that memory location. And again, pq are pointing and x is also marking, like this. Okay. Then we have using the pointers, we are changing the value. So how we can access this memory location using p? Just apply the star. Okay, applying star on p will give you the will give you that memory location, and in that memory location we are storing the value 8. Previously it was 7, now we have stored 8. So what will happen? Before the execution 7 was there, and after the execution of this statement you will get 8. So whatever modification you do with the help of this p pointer, that modification will affect the memory location, because all these things p, q and x, they are marking, or they are pointing the same memory location. So whatever changes you do with the help of x and whatever changes you do with the help of p, both are going to affect the same memory location, because p is nothing but it is holding the address of x, and x is nothing but it is marking this particular memory location. So then we have changing the address of doing some manipulation like this, more manipulation like this. See, applying %, address operator, and indirection operator together on a particular variable, what it will do? See here, you have the variable. Let us say you have the variable, and we are applying %, to the variable, then what it will give? It will give the address, isn't it? Address it will give. Applying %, on the variable, address it is giving. So I need to write this complete statement in a single line. So here we have the we are creating the variables. So we have the variable, and on this variable, what we are doing, to get the address on this variable, like let us say a we have. To get the address, what we are doing, we are keeping the ampersand before the variable name. Okay, then from this what you will get, you will get the address of A. Okay, you will get the address of A. Okay, address of A we are getting. So if you apply the ampersand, what you will get over here, you will get the address. In a generalized manner I am writing, you will get the address. So like this. Then if you apply indirection on address of A, then what you will get, you will get a value of A, that is nothing but A only. Value of A, that is nothing but A only. Okay, so here also if you apply the indirection on address, what you will get, you will get once again the value. Okay, value, or we can say the variable you will get. So here if I put ampersand x, this will give you the address of x. And applying indirection on address of x, again you will get the x only. Applying indirection on address of x, you will get x only. So if you put ampersand and star together onto a variable, so applying ampersand then applying star, then what will happen, these two things will cancel each other and you will get x only. Remember this one, these two things will cancel each other and you will get x only. Here the same thing. See, we are saying star ampersand x is equals to star q plus star p. So what is star q? 8. What is star p? That is also 8. And we are storing the result into this x, because this thing will cancel and you will get x only. So inside x we are storing that 16. So what will happen, after the statement you will get value, x value as 16, and all x p q will point that same. Okay, then having the value 16, we are saying x is equals to star p multiplied with star q. What is star p? Star p in the sense, apply indirection on p, you will get the value of p, that is 16. Then star q, apply indirection on star q, you will get another 16. Okay, so now 16 multiplied with 16, it is 256, and that 256 you can see over here into this memory block. Hopefully you understood this one. So here I wrote that thing, that statement, ampersand star, applying both address operator as well as indirection operator onto a variable will give same that variable only, because star and ampersand will cancel each other. Okay, remember this one. So declaration versus definition, pointer declaration versus pointer definition. See, in order to declare a pointer, how we are declaring a variable, we are declaring a variable of type integer like this, int a. We are declaring a variable of type character like this, character ch. We are declaring a variable of type float like this, float f. Okay, in this way we are doing the declaration of a integer variable, ch character variable, f float variable, like this we are doing. So to declare a pointer, suppose if you have a variable a of type integer and you want to store the address of, because before creating the pointer you must have to know what variable address you're going to store into that pointer. Okay, as before creating the variables, before creating the variables only, we are checking the values, what type of value we are reading into the program. Based on that value type only, we are creating the variable. If we are reading integer values, we are creating the integer variable. If we are reading character values, we are creating character variables. Likewise, in that same fashion, whenever you are declaring a pointer, prior to the declaration of that pointer, you must know what address the pointer variable is going to hold inside your program. So here, if you have an integer variable, to store the address of an integer variable, you need an integer pointer. Okay, to store the address of an integer variable, you need an integer pointer. So how we can declare the integer pointer? In the sense, simply put int. Okay, int type name will be the same, and after type name put the star. After type name put the star, then aptr. Okay, then aptr. Now to create a character pointer, type name character and put the star. Okay, so for this chptr. Okay, character pointer. Then to print the or to store the address of a float variable, we need a float pointer. So declare a float pointer, float star. So float pointer is declared. So now fptr, like this. So now aptr is capable of holding the address of a, because a is integer variable and aptr is an integer pointer. So you can store aptr is equals to and percent a. This is a valid statement, acceptable. But you can't do like this, aptr is equals to chptr, sorry, aptr is equals to and percent ch. You can't do aptr is equals to and percent ch, storing the character variable address into an integer pointer. It is not allowed, and percent ch. Like this, if you do, you will get an error. Okay. Then yes, to store the address of ch, what we need? We need a character pointer, that is chptr is capable of holding and percent ch. That same way, if you want to store the address of a float variable, so that is, then you need a float pointer. fptr is equals to and percent f. Like this, you can store the address of f into fptr. See, this asterisk symbol, whatever we have, okay, whatever we have, it is having two different purposes. One is to create the pointer. So here we have done, we are simply suffixing the star after the type name to create the integer pointer. Okay, after the type name to create that type of pointer. At the same time, how to retrieve the value from this pointer aptr? You are prefixing asterisk before the variable name to get the value. Prefixing pointer before the variable name, before the pointer variable name, we are getting the value fptr, like this. So this will give, aptr will give the address of, I mean, value of a, then chptr star chptr will give the value of ch, star fptr will give you the value of f. Likewise, you can get the values. So here this asterisk operator, it is having two different purposes. One is to declare the pointer, declaration, and another is to retrieve the value. Okay, another is to retrieve the value. So like this. Okay, declaration versus indirection. Okay, the concept. Okay, declaration versus indirection. So this we will discuss first, how we can define a pointer and how the star asterisk operator is helpful in both declaring the pointers and defining the, sorry, retrieving the values. So for that, go here and take a simple example. So hash include stdio.h, then go int main of void. So here you come down and take like this. So how we can do the declaration of a pointer? Int star. So first you create a variable, int a is equals to 20. Now this a variable is having value 20. Then create a character variable, character ch is equals to, I'm storing some character e into it. Then create a float variable, float f is equals to store 3.14, a floating point value. Okay, then create the pointers. To store the integer variable, I need an integer pointer. So int star aptr. Okay, I need to store the character address, I need a character pointer, character star chptr. Okay, then to store the float address, we need float star. Okay, float star fptr. So now after this, what we can do? Yeah, we can store the uh, addresses. Okay, we can store the addresses into these pointers. So aptr can hold the address of a only, because aptr is of type integer pointer and it can hold the address of an integer variable. So integer variable and percent a. Can we store and percent ch over there? Not possible. Same way, chptr character pointer can hold the address of character variable. Then same way, fptr float pointer can hold the address of float variable f. So like this, we stored the values and we stored the addresses. So the next thing, we print these values first with the help of variables we print, and then with the help of pointers we print. So when you are printing with the help of pointers directly, you can't print. If you print directly, you will get addresses. So what we have to do, we have to apply the indirection operator onto them. that is nothing but the asterisk operator. We have to prefix the asterisk operator, indirection operator, before the variable name. Okay, see here, printf values. Okay, values using variables. What are they? Percentile D for integer, percentile C for character, percentile F for float. Print them A comma CH comma F. Okay. So what we have done, we simply printed the values using variables. We simply printed the values using variables. Java, go compile. Why it is giving that issue? What is saying? Acha, we forgot hash here. Hash include. Not star here, and percent. Storing the address. Got compiled successfully. See here, values using variables 20e 3.14, like that we are getting. So the same values, if I want to print using pointers, then I need to apply the indirection. Okay, indirection operator, that is once again star. So star is having two different purposes. One is for declaration we are using, and another for indirection we are using. So that indirection I am performing now. Printf values using pointers indirection. Pointers indirection. So if you do the indirection of pointers, you will get the values. So what are they? Once again, same thing. Percentile D, percentile C, percentile F. So now pass the values. First value, that is APTR, apply the indirection. Indirection APTR. Then second value, CHPTR, character pointer, apply the indirection to get the character value. CHPTR. Next, third value, float pointer, apply the indirection on FPTR. So like this. Go to the end and put the semicolon. That's it. So now save it, execute, compile, compilation successful, and execute, run. See here, same values we are getting, but this is how we are getting by applying indirection on pointers we are getting. The first thing we are getting simply by with the help of variables, and second thing by applying the indirection on pointers we are getting. So these two are the possible approaches. So one thing you need to notice, that is declaration versus redirection. Here, see, when we are declaring a pointer, we are using the asterisk operator after the type name. So APTR is becoming the pointer, integer pointer. And when you are redirecting the value, you are using the asterisk operator before the pointer name. Okay, after the type name, before the pointer name. Two things, two different uses we are having for the star operator. So star operator, asterisk operator, is not only helping us in declaring the pointer, but also helping us in indirecting the value or getting the value from the pointer. You have to remember these two things. Very important. Okay, declaration versus redirection. To declare a pointer, here to declare a pointer we are using the star after the type name, and to redirect the value or to get the value from the pointer, we are applying the star before the pointer variable name. Okay, this is how we are achieving. So initialization of a pointer variable, like every other object in C, pointers must be initialized before they can be used in the program. So you are creating an integer variable, and to access, to use that integer variable in our program, we are storing some value into that integer variable. You are creating a character variable, you need to store a character value into that one before using it. In that same way, if you create a pointer variable, it must be initialized to some value, or not to value, to some address before you use it into your program. Otherwise, what will happen if you use a pointer variable? If you use a pointer variable without initialization, then what will happen? Without initialization, pointers will also have an unknown garbage address into it. okay, an unknown garbage address into it, and if you redirect or if you use that pointer address into your program, you will get some inaccurate values. Okay, when program starts, all initialized pointers will hold some unknown addresses which are pointing to some unknown values. So you will get unknown values. If you redirect or if you indirect the unknown addresses, you will get some unknown values, and those unknown values, they are not, or they are the least useful to us. Okay, so yeah, so far many things we discussed. Now the concept of pointers to pointers. So see here, we have an integer variable int a. Okay, to store the address of this integer variable, and percent %a is the address of integer variable. So to store the address of integer variable, what we are doing, we are creating an integer pointer like this, int star aptr equals to and percent %a, like this we are saying, and percent %a, like this we are saying. So let us assume you have a variable of integer pointer. You have int star aptr you have. So how this will be in reality, in the sense, a memory location, name is a, having value, let us say 20 you are storing, initialize this to 20, so 20 we are storing. You have this aptr, another memory block, this address is 1001, so we have aptr, and inside this aptr we are storing this 1001. So let us say, now what will happen, this will point to this will point, aptr will point to a. Okay, so if you create if you want a pointer to this aptr, if you want a pointer to this pointer, then how come you yeah then you need a pointer to this pointer. In order to store this pointer, you need a pointer. Okay, so pointer to pointer, how we declare, see here, having integer, okay, having integer, to store the address of integer, we are creating integer pointer, int star aptr. So now, having an integer pointer to store the address of this, because this integer pointer, when it is storing the address of an integer, it will also a memory location, and it will also have some address. Let us say here 1002. To store this address 1002, we need another pointer. We need another pointer. So that is ptr to aptr, pointer to aptr. Okay, pointer to aptr. So to how we declare this pointer to aptr, in the sense, we need to add one more star, int star pointer to aptr, like this, pointer to aptr. So if you have, yeah, what will happen, like this, if you create, now this pointer to aptr is capable of holding a pointer's address, ptr to aptr is equals to and percent aptr you can do, like this. Now this ptr to aptr can hold this 1002. If you do like this, it is holding 1002, like this. So it is pointing like this. So this pointer also, it can have another pointer. Okay, this pointer also, it can have another pointer. We have an example over here. See here, this a, it is holding the value 58, and a's address is, as you can see over here, a is holding value 58, and a's address we are storing into p. A's address we are storing into p. How come? We are saying p is equals to and percent a, and percent a we are storing into p. So p is holding, this is the address. Okay, some assumed address, this is not the actual address, some assumed address. So this address we are storing into p. Okay, that p pointer, it is also having address. So that to store into another pointer, we need a pointer to integer. See here, pointer to integer. So that how we declare q, that is nothing but q. That how we will declare, in the sense, int star, double star you have to put, pointer to pointer. So to store that %p's address, %p is nothing but pointer's address. To store the pointer's address, we need a pointer to pointer. We need a pointer to pointer, and that pointer to pointer is nothing but your q. Okay, hopefully you understood. So applying indirection. So if you want to get the value from a pointer, apply only one star. And if you want to get the value from pointer to pointer, apply 2 times star. Star star q. Star p will take you to the value because it is having because it is level 1 pointer. We call it as a level 1 pointer, L1. Okay, so in order to access the value from level 1 pointer, you need only 1 star. Okay, and if you have a level 2 pointer, to access the value from level 2 pointer, we need 2 stars. Remember this one, 2 times indirection. As to declare a pointer, we are using 2 stars. To get the value also, we need 2 stars. To declare the pointer, we are using 2 stars, and to declare a pointer to pointer, we are using 2 stars, and to get the value from a pointer to pointer, we need 2 stars. Okay, this thing you have to remember. Okay, so we just see a practical example on this one. Then the concept of void pointers and array of pointers, arrays and pointers, we will do in our next class. Pointer arithmetic also there. This we will do in our next class. So just I will explain the concept of pointer to pointer, and we will wind up the session. Okay, as tomorrow we are going for another session, so definitely in that session I will try to conclude the pointers concept along with your linked list representations and the self-referential pointers. Okay, those two things also I will include into this concepts, and so that we will complete half of the fifth unit. Okay, in one more session we are completing half of the fifth unit, and if I explain the files concept, that will conclude the entire syllabus. Okay, so hardly 2 more classes I am expecting. We will see how it will go. So this program, a is the actual variable. So to declare a, we need only int a, normal type a. P, it is a pointer, so int star p. Q, to declare pointer to pointer, int star q, 2 stars, because it is a second level pointer. And to declare r, it is a third level pointer, so you need 3 stars. Int star r. Like this, you can have any level of pointers. Any level of pointers. You can even have one more pointer here. You can even have one more pointer like that. It depends on your patience, how complex you want your program to be. Okay, but I'm taking up to third level, and I'm stopping there. So simply we do the demonstration of this one. And we will wind up the session. Okay, so just go to your program, and here you start writing the program. Hash in stdio.h, then here int main of void, like this. So here declare a variable, declare the first level pointer int star p. They can declare the second level pointer to store the address of p, that is int star q, and declare the third level pointer to store the address of q, int star r. Okay, first level, second level, third level, 3 levels of pointers we have. Now what you do, store the addresses inside inside p. We can store the address of a. So in this a, it's better if you store some value equals to 20. Let us do like this. Okay, p is holding the address of a, q is holding the address of p, and r is holding the address of q. So that link we framed, this type of link already framed. Now to access the values, okay, printf. Okay, first I will print the value of a. Okay, variable, using variable I am printing the value. So that is percentile D comma A only. Okay. So next thing, printf value of A. Now using L1 pointer, level 1 pointer. What is level 1 pointer? Percentile D. What is level 1 pointer? P is my level 1 pointer, which is holding the address of A. So if it is a level 1 pointer and if it is holding the address of A directly, so only one star is enough. Okay, only one star is enough on P to get the value. Okay, so level 2 pointer, printf value of A using a level 2 pointer. Level 2 pointer. What is level 2 pointer? Q is my level 2 pointer. So how to get the value from there? We need to apply 2 times indirection, isn't it? Because it is a level 2 pointer. Q is my level 2 pointer. So we need to apply the indirection 2 times. So third thing, value of no value of A only. We are printing all value of A's only. Value of A using level 3 pointer. Level 3 pointer now. So what is level 3 pointer? What is level 3 pointer? R is my level 3 pointer. So how to get the value from that R? Yeah, you need to apply the indirection 3 times now. Okay, because it is a level 3 pointer, so you need to apply the indirection 3 times and R. Like this you will get the values from value from A using different mediums. Okay, using first level pointer, second level pointer, third level pointer, and using the variable also. So in all the cases you will get the value 20 only as an output. Just see, compile, it is successful, and run. Okay, we need to put backslash n's basically. So without backslash n's you won't get. Or it is better if you put here. Okay, now you save it, compile, and run. As you can see, value of A using the variable, normal variable, we are getting 20. Level 1 pointer 20, level 2 pointer, level 3 pointer, all 20s only we are getting because we formed this chain. Okay, and here we stored 20 and we formed this chain so that whenever you are using the first level pointer, you are accessing that same value. Second level pointer, you are accessing that same value. Third level pointer, you are accessing that same value. But whenever you are accessing that same value for every hop from here to here, one hop, if you consider it as one hop, you need 1 star. And from here to here, how many hops? 2 hops. From here to here, how many hops? 2 hops you have, so you need 2 stars. So for declaration, for redirection, for both the things, if you want to declare this queue, you need 2 stars, as you can see. And if you want to indirect the value, you have to say star star queue, like that. From here to here, if you want to jump, you need how many stars? 3 stars. For declaration, 3 stars, and for redirection also 3 stars, like this. Remember this strategy. Okay, this is P. Remember this strategy, it is very important. And yeah, it is the basis for your self-referential structures, we can say. Okay, in tomorrow's class we move further and we see void pointers and then arrays and pointers, and the last important concept, pointer arithmetic, we will see. Then we will see the self-referential structures and notation of linked list and a program related to that linked lists. Then we also have the concept of memory allocation functions that you can refer in the notes. Okay, because it is not there in your syllabus. Anyhow, I will try to complete that memory allocation functions if time permits. Then we need to go for the what we call files concept, introduction to files concept, and it will take like 1 class hardly, introduction to files. Okay, so I will try to wind up this soon as possible. before the end of this week we need to conclude the 5 units, and I will forward the important questions. Inshallah, tomorrow I will try to forward the important questions so that you can start your preparation. Okay. uh, Thank you very much, students.